and Colombia will go to its presidential runoff election on Sunday. For more, we're being joined by Fernando Casado. Fernando is an author, analyst, and professor at the Institute of Higher Studies here in Ecuador. Fernando, thank you so much for joining us. Now, to start, I want to ask you, what do you make of the first round of presidential elections with all the claims of irregularities and potential fraud?
Hello, thank you for the invitation. Well, probably it's difficult to know the scope of the irregularities, but it seems that they pursue to prevent Petro from getting into the second round and putting Fajardo instead of him, because it seems that the establishment and the ruling class is really afraid of Petro going to the second round and having the chance of getting the presidency in Colombia. Take into account that it's the first time since Gaitán in the late 40s that a leftist candidate gets to the second round and has the chances to even get the presidency in Colombia.
Now, he has received, Gustavo Petro, a number of recent endorsements leading up to the second round. So what do you think his chances actually are on Sunday?
If you gather all the other candidates from the center and center-left in the first round, Humberto Lacalle and Sergio Fajardo, the amount of support that Petro would have is 51%. However, Sergio Fajardo and also Humberto Lacalle, the third and fourth and fifth candidate, did not expressly support Petro, and that could jeopardize his candidacy or chances for the presidency, since now there are going to be not two but three candidates for the second round, because also there is a third post for the blank vote, and since Sergio Fajardo and Humberto Lacalle has called for the blank vote, that will diminish the chances for Petro to beat Iván Duque.
Now, what do you think are the main differences between the two candidates, and how will this election affect Colombia's peace process?
Yeah, that's actually the key point in these elections, because these are two very different candidates, and the situation is right now quite polarized. Iván Duque represents the continuism of Uribism, and of course it's a right-wing party. People accuse him of being the puppet of Uribe or his protege. So what we will see with his government is probably a setback in the peace process. He says that he's not going to eliminate the process, but to modify it. And also probably he will rule for the business sector, what will means diminishing taxes and red tape. And also he is in favor of oil fracking, what we know that contaminates and is really negative for the environment. Whereas on the other hand, Petro will increase taxes. He has already said that in Colombia there is a really big problem of ownership of the land, so he will put taxes on unproductive lands and plots of lands. He will also increase probably taxes in the business sectors, since Colombia is the third most unequal country on earth, and taxes are very low in comparison with other countries in the region, and he will use those taxes in order to make social expenditures. And also, of course, he will promote and continue reinforcing the peace process to make it end in a successful way.
Now, Fernando, lastly, I want to ask you very quickly, what are your thoughts on Manuel Santos' announcement to formalize entry to NATO just before leaving office?
It's a very awkward decision, since NATO normally concentrates in memberships in North Hemisphere and also in Europe. I would say that this is a way of bringing back the US and the loss of his influence in the region, especially after the peace process was completed. So in order to still have a reason to have the 7 military bases in Colombia and also have an influence on the rest of the region, Santos has finished his presidency with this very strange announcement that also could be a threat, or perceived as a threat, as neighbor countries as Venezuela. And since NATO membership countries are very far away from Colombia, it's weird as a decision, and probably very much it's a call of the US.